I still have time for the story. I gotta tell you a story. We're gonna do lots of icebreakers during orientation this summer, in the fall. How many of you have done already more than your share of icebreakers in the world? Oh yeah, no, you've got more to do, okay? Icebreakers are those corny little dumb activities, and trust me, these people know they're corny and weird, okay? They're not like, woo, we do these every morning, although some of them next Thanksgiving at their family will actually do them. It's true, like we get it in our blood, and we're like, you guys, okay, everyone, if you could be a tree, what kind of tree would you be? Go. I want to tell you very quickly about an icebreaker you should never do. And it was one that I came up with at summer camp, and me and my little committee of 5, when we were on camp staff one summer, during staff training the week before campers were gonna arrive, we had a week of staff training and a couple hours of icebreakers to start off the bat. Now, the icebreaker committee had this awesome responsibility to come up with cool, fun, innovative, awesome icebreakers that this group full of people who do icebreakers all the time would be impressed and would want to use with their campers. So we researched, we read through a bunch of books, we brainstormed, we came up with the leaf game. And what we did is we gathered 50 leaves and we gave every person on staff a leaf, and we said, you've got 5 minutes to get to know your leaf. I would like you to name your leaf, I would like you to ask your leaf questions, and I would like you to listen for answers. And they looked at me just like that. You were like, what? And they walked around, some of them were like, and some people were like, oh. And after 5 minutes, I had them get in a big circle and we introduced our leaves. There were some boring leaves. This is Joe Elm, he hangs on a tree. But we also met Keisha, a leaf who had a PhD in biology and was working on a cure for leukemia. A leaf! Pretty impressive. We met 50 leaves that day. That was the first part, the goofy part, the weird part. The second part was the something to think about part. So then I said, okay, you know your leaf really well. How well do you know your leaf? I want you to say goodbye to your leaf. And some people were like, goodbye. And I had them put their leaf in a pile. And then I had them stand in a circle again, and they turned around and face out, and I went up to the pile, and I mixed up the pile of leaves. And then I had them turn back around. I said, okay, you know your leaf so well, you bonded with your leaf, go find your leaf. And somebody said, well, you can't. They all look alike. I said, really? Those 50 leaves are identical? Well, not identical. I'm like, okay, what's different about them? Different shapes, different sizes, different coloration. Some of them have a stem, some of them don't. Think about what your leaf looked like and see if you can go find your leaf. And they all 50 stood there except one. She comes up and she's like, Julie, Julie. Takes her about 20, 30 seconds, and then she goes, Julie, I found you. And everybody got jealous. And so everyone comes forward, and pretty soon we've got this 20-minute rolling around in this huge pile of leaves, fighting over, this is my leaf, no, there you are. Everyone got into it. Everyone found their leaf. And I was so proud of my little icebreaker activity that had something to think about individuality, about difference. And then the camp director came up to me and said, Paul, where did you get the leaves for this activity? And I took him over to the edge of the meadow where we were, and I showed him the tree. And he pointed out, Paul, the tree actually is dead, but there are these sort of bushy things growing up around the edge of the tree. Oh, yeah. And I said, Gene, I know what you're thinking, because when we were gathering the leaves for this activity, remember I had a little committee that had created this activity, and we were collecting the leaves. And one of the people on the committee said, I don't think we should use these. They kind of look like poison ivy. And my first thought was, I'm in charge of this group. I know it's not poison ivy. I'm an Eagle Scout, duh. But that's not how leaders are supposed to operate with a group. What I learned about conflict resolution in a group is you listen to all sides, and then you have a discussion, good discussion, and then you vote. Majority rules. 4 people said it was not poison ivy. 1 person said it was poison ivy. It was poison ivy. I had literally handed out 50 poison ivy leaves to 50 camp counselors who had spent 5 minutes getting to know their poison ivy leaf, introducing their poison ivy leaf, hugging their poison ivy leaf, rolling around in a pile of poison ivy leaves. Good job, Paul. You know, and at first it was funny. I was like, you guys. No one laughed. And the next day, all of us coated with poison ivy outbreak. And I spent a lot of time thinking, what did I do wrong? And I know the lesson. If I would have decided to tell the group, this is not poison ivy, we're going forward, I would get the lesson. Paul, you should listen to other people. I did listen to other people. It took me a while to get that sometimes as groups, we make decisions based on majority rules. And then the assumption we make is that the majority must be right. And because growing up, we go through a developmental process where fitting in is so vitally important. And as you move into college and adulthood, part of your growth process is having a desire to stand out. You don't abandon your need to fit in. You don't abandon your need to fit in, but you have a need to stand out. They are polar opposite needs, and you have both of them. When you get nervous, which one do you default to? Fitting in. And so what we need to invite you to do is dare you, remind you, encourage you to make sure you're doing things with people who are different than you, with people who are in the minority, because our society just doesn't always do well with difference and doesn't always do well with minority.